morning.
Give me a lock on the door.
How are you
Hi.
today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. So, let's start out with why you joined the military.
It's actually it's a really funny story.
You like funny
I
stories.
I didn't know anything about the army. Was not planning on. I was looking past the army. I'm like, no, I'm going to school. I'm all of that.
Yes.
So I had a friend and she was going to take the ASVAB. This was our junior year. She
Mm-hmm.
was like, hey, let's go. She's like, I gotta go take this test, but I don't want to go by myself.
Okay.
Our other friend, she was supposed to go with us, but she can't go anymore. I'm like, well, what kind of test is it? She was like, oh, it's just a test.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll go with you.
Okay.
We go take this test. Next thing you know, I have this recruiter showing up at my house. I'm like, who are
Oh, okay.
you? And he's like, hey, you came and you took a test and, you scored really well. And I just want to talk about, your future in the military. I'm like, there's no future in the military. No, thank you. I'm not trying to do that. Long story short, I end up playing the game. I'm like, okay, let me just see where this goes.
Yeah.
They start throwing that money at you. Oh, you get this
Oh, yeah.
amount of money and this amount of money. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound too bad. So sign up, go through the work, start training and all this stuff, get ready, take a PT test. So it comes down to the day that we're supposed to ship off to basic training.
Okay.
And I'm there. My friend is nowhere to be found. We went through this whole process together.
Wow.
She's nowhere to be found. So the recruiter comes. I'm like, hey, where's so-and-so? And he's like, oh, a couple days ago, she decided she doesn't want to do it anymore. And I'm like, we had that option. Like, I didn't know we had that option. I don't want to do this by myself. Oh, no, you'll be great. After I had to, convince my mom, because it took my mom, some weeks to sign the paperwork. She would not sign it. She was not going for it. So, yeah, that's how I ended up. He was like, oh, no, you'll be great. You'll do fine. So, off I go to basic training, and here I am.
I mean, wow.
Exactly.
We had to convince our mom to do this, and this are we still friends with this girl?
I haven't talked to her since high school.
Okay, because I was like, we need to reevaluate some friendships.
Oh yeah. When I got back from basic training, the whole senior year, I'm just giving her the side eye.
So you went to basic during school?
Yeah. So I was split. They call it split option. Because I was still in high school, so I went to basic training one summer, and then the next summer I had to go to AIT.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was hard. Trying to stay in shape during senior year in high school.
I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing, I guess, right?
Exactly. I literally had only been 17 for maybe 30 days before I signed that paperwork.
My goodness. Well, I mean, I guess now people know that's an option, right? I don't know if it's still an option, but
I think they still do that if you're too young.
wow. I mean, I guess in your head you could have said, well, mom, you don't want to sign this. Well, let me take this as a sign, let me not do this. But mom, you trying to hold me back from what I want to do. You trying to hold me back from being great.
My dad had signed the paper. He's like, yeah, she can go. Good. Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead, sign your life away. Just go ahead. So have you ever deployed?
I deployed in 2004, actually, when they first kicked off deployments after the 9/11. I was one of the first, companies in the chute.
Okay. And so for the people that don't know, you are an officer in the military, because everybody else I've talked to has been enlisted, and it's a whole different spectrum when it comes to being an officer and the things that you have to deal with compared to us enlisted.
I know. Sometimes I get the side eye from people. They're like, have you always been officer? I'm like, no, I was enlisted first. And I crossed over. They're like, oh, we weren't good enough for you, huh? I love being enlisted.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, go ahead and go get you that money, because that's where it is. Get paid to deal with the crap that we have to deal with. I mean, you do have to deal with a lot more political, garbage, but
Yeah.
you can
For
run me my mouth.
me, for me, it was the officers that I was seeing at the time. They were
Yeah.
just, and I just felt that I could do more on the other side
Oh yeah.
for like soldier issues.
Yes.
So I did that.
So how long were you enlisted?
I was enlisted for, I want to say about 6 years. I made it up to E6
Okay.
and then I switched over.
Okay. And how long you been in now?
Whew. Counting both. um, on the active duty side, because I was reserved when I first got in.
Okay.
On the active duty side, I did 8 years, and on the enlisted side, I did 8 years. Actually, 9 years on the active duty side, and 8 years on the.
So when you cross over, right? It's going what you do your time starts over, it just adds.
It starts over because I can't exactly because I came over from the reserve side, so they
Oh,
don't. That's
okay.
two. Yeah, they count that as two separate.
Listen, in my head, it was like, girl, you over the
I
mountain,
wish I'd be
right? You over the
retiring
mountain.
right now. I'd be
You,
retiring. I tell people, I'm like, I've been in this military since I was 17 years old. Like,
this
that's a
is
long time.
this is that's some real life dedication there, girl. Like this 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 is that's a whole new.
Exactly. Like literally my whole life. I grew up in the military.
And I feel like we've been friends for this long, and I didn't know that part. Like, my
Yeah.
God. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, what kept you, what made you keep going? Because at this point, right, you crossed over at 8 years, and
Mm-hmm.
then what what made you keep going? What made you when you crossed over to say, okay, I'm gonna do this for the people, right? Because that's
Yeah.
what it boiled down to. What made you continue to stay? Was it worth the first off, was it worth the crossover? Right?
Yeah.
Was you crossing over worth it?
Yes. I think it was because just
Okay.
to see that other side
Yeah.
and like there's some, I want to call them myths. People like things that people talk about on the officer side that are
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
And there's some things on the officer side that are not true.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like why I kept going, I don't know. It was the soldiers. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like every assignment that I went to and I encountered like these soldiers that, and I enjoy soldiers.
Yes. Yes.
So I guess I can say that's what kept me going
Okay.
is like just helping them and seeing them, progress up in the ranks and, things that they want to do, helping them out. Like other soldiers who want to get out. I've had soldiers who were ready to sign deck statements and just done with the military because of the leadership that they encountered. So it's like, let me just, let me help you out.
We change your perspective.
Exactly. And I've even had one soldier who, like, he was literally on the verge of being chaptered out of the army. And I asked my command, I said, just let me have him.
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes. Yes.
I said, because the environment that he's in, I
Yeah.
just think it's bad. Just let me
Yeah.
have him and let me, give me a good 6 months. And
Yeah.
if y'all still want to put him out after that, that's fine.
Yeah.
So he came, he worked for me, and it was what I had thought. It was just the people that he worked under didn't want to give him a chance.
Yes.
People were just like judging him from
Yep.
looking at him and how he carried himself.
Yep.
But I'm like, he's a hard worker. I can see it.
Yeah.
So he came, he worked for me. He did great. He got his rank back. And he even went on to cross over and become an officer as well.
Oh, see, he's like, yeah. Listen, these people wouldn't do me right. Now let me go in and do it for somebody else, right?
Exactly. So that's what I enjoy. So that's literally what kept me going.
And what do you do?
I am a 42 Bravo. I'm a AG officer, human resources.
So, did you do that when you were enlisted? Did you just cross right over into the job, or did you do something different before and then
Yeah.
change?
While I was enlisted, I was a loggy. I was supply.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a whole different world.
It is
Which do you
very.
like better?
Which one do I enjoy?
Mhm.
Ooh, that's a hard one because there's sometimes I miss the loggy world.
Yeah.
I do, but I want to say I get more interaction with soldiers on the 42 side. So I guess I have to go with the 42 side because as a loggy, I was a 92 alpha, so I was entering motor pool with
Yeah.
mechanics all day. Not
Yes.
that mechanics are bad, but
I
you don't
mean,
get a lot of interaction. You don't get a lot of
listen,
interaction with people. Like,
I was supply in the Air Force, and for me, our job was like a variation, right? So I could be in a warehouse with the mechanics. I could be
mhm.
anywhere. I could do anything with anybody in the military as long as they needed supplies from us, right?
Yeah.
So I remember being stationed. My first base was Montana, and it was It was a Red Horse unit, and they're a rapid deploy unit, and we do runways. So the vehicle maintenance, everybody's one big happy circle of family.
Okay.
If they decide to take you when they deploy, then you're on the loop to go. I've never deployed with any of them on a rapid deployment, but that squadron, I had my first deployment, and we went as a whole entire unit. And I mean, when I say whole entire unit, the whole unit, everybody, I think it was like 10 people, whatever the minimum is at the time, at
Yeah.
that time, that you could leave back. But then I went to, where did I go next? I went to Germany. There
Hmm.
was no runway there. So we were in an office ordering the parts. We were the middleman. So somebody would send us the order, then we would process it and it would be shipped out. I didn't touch no parts. I didn't see no parts. I didn't do anything. My next base was Scott Air Force Base,
Okay.
and was yet the same thing. It was no warehouse. It was order the part, ship it out, and it went to the people. So
Yeah.
then from Scott to, what was next? I deployed. Um, and then I went to Hungary. I volunteered, so I volunteered for a short tour because I didn't want to go to Illinois. I didn't. I was like I don't Illinois. The commander was like, "Oh, it's gonna be so great. It's such an amazing place. It's so family oriented." Said to the single person that ain't got no family.
I
So
know, right? What am I
we
gonna
get
do there?
we get there and it's like cornfields and nothing. And it's like it was 30 minutes from St. Louis, but that 30-minute drive is a lot when you have to deal with the traffic and the different things because people go to St. Louis for the arch and all the different things. So
Hmm.
it was an okay assignment, but I'm telling you, when I got there, the commander that I was there came with me from Simbach. He
Okay.
he signed every paper. He was like, "You want?" I said, I don't want to be here. I don't." So he signed. I mean, he was a G. He signed every paper I came up, every idea I came up with. He was like, "Sure, okay." But every time it would come back and be like, "You don't have enough time on station to get this assignment, so you have to
Uh,
stay." So
yeah.
then I deployed, I volunteered for this deployment because I was like, something has to give. I am so over this place. Like, it's like you get to a point and it's like you deal, now I know better, right? Because I
Yeah.
know like dealing with people, it's like, it's what energy you bring that affects the situation, right? So if everybody's bringing bad energy, all we got is bad energy. But I was like, all right, I gotta do something. I gotta go. So I put my name on the list. I was like, I'm volunteering for this. I literally, because I worked in the office where we did the deployments. Mind you, I
Okay.
deployed for the deployment before the deployment dropped because I didn't know what it
Mhm.
was. I didn't know what it entailed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take it back now because after training, I had an amazing time, right? Like we were
Okay.
at our location. I had a great time. We went back and forth because in the supply world, you go and you get supplies and you go wherever it needs
Yeah.
to go.
Hmm.
So we were flying, we were getting in the Black Hawks, we were doing all this different traveling. It
Oh,
was
nice.
great, right? So it's like people were like, "Oh, you need to go. Okay, let me put your name on the manifest and will move you up to the top because you got to go get these parts."
Yeah.
It's like back and forth. Like I would go to one base, stay the night, and then come back. So it was
Oh.
amazing. Like I met so many different people, interacted with people. Then I got Papa Hungry. So in Hungary, the place where they decided to build a base,
Yeah.
it there's it's such a poor country where
Oh.
they put it.
Yeah.
So I mean, these people are they're building up houses for the Americans that are coming in because they used where it was already a base. I mean, a base. I'm sorry, a runway. So they
Okay.
used the building that the runway, and the runway was good. So that's where they put the C-17s and the C-130s, and that's where they actually used as the hub. But
Yeah.
this town was 30 minutes away from us, the biggest town, like not even the big town. So, and an hour and something away from Budapest. So it was in an okay location, but it was so far back that you had to drive 30 minutes to anything. And
Oh.
okay, so I can't do like how they live, right? So they buy their food every day. I'm used to buying my food for the week, or for putting stuff in your freezer. No,
Yeah.
they shop daily for their stuff. Their meats
Yeah.
aren't they're out in the open with no like ice, no nothing in. It's in a store. Like they want like on the street. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it sound worse than it is, but it wasn't. But it's like in a container and it's all open, and basically they buy that food for the day and that's it. No, I just couldn't bring myself to
No.
buying that. And people are like, oh, it's fine. This one girl was like, it's fine. It's okay. I'm like,
No.
all I could think about is salmonella. Like,
Yeah.
how
Like I'm not
precious is
trying to.
needed to sit now. And you know what? I'm not taking away from how people have grown up, how people live, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's culture. But
Right.
for me, it just I mean, in
Yeah.
the islands, they fish, they clean the fish, you buy it, you cook it that day. That's it,
Right.
right? It came right out the water, you put it on. How long these
Yeah.
chickens been dead?
Exactly.
So, but there, we were in a warehouse and we were on the actual runway, and parts in and out ordering, but it wasn't like we had a warehouse with all the parts because we didn't have the it was brand new. So when I got there, they hadn't been up for even a year, so everything was new. So there was no parts sitting in the warehouse. And then I went to Rota, Spain, and that's where
Mhm.
we had a warehouse. I mean, when I tell you, we had every part in that warehouse, from tires to little nuts and bolts. And we were with the maintainers, and
Right.
they were I mean, you know how you sit there and you say, like, for me, you need to wash your hands before you come up in here with your dirty hands, like,
I
and
know.
you
Oh,
keep
that
gonna
is
go
so. Oh, I hate that they come and stick their hands through the window, and you're just like, ew.
like, you I understand you working, but you could have took you walked past the bathroom to come to this side of it.
Exactly. Like,
Like, this is disgusting. So it that world is a different world, but it's like they think differently too
yeah.
from
Oh, yeah.
everybody else. Like, they as maintainers, the ones I met some good, I met some bad, and they're like entitled, right? Because they fix the aircrafts, they fix the vehicles, right? So
Exactly. They're like, you need me.
yes, and that's the problem. It's like everybody, I don't, the military, the opportunities that we have in the military are amazing. Yes, but it all depends on how you look at it, right? Because some people have had the most horrible experience, can't do nothing. But for me, like we talk about, the Army and the Air Force is two different entities in itself. Like how
Yeah.
we're treated compared to how y'all are treated is
Oh my god.
ridiculous. So for you, do you plan on retiring or you plan on getting out?
Oh, I'm getting out. Mm. Ma'am.
So how does
No,
it work for
yeah,
y'all?
I'm not gonna make just because of how they did the time for
Yeah.
me with the reserve and then the active duty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I still have 12 years before I can retire, even though I've been between both the reserve and active duty side, I have over 20 years. But because they don't count that time, I still have like 12 years, no, 11 years before I can retire.
Who,
And I
who
just
wants
like,
to do that? Crazy.
I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not. So I actually just dropped my packet to get out.
Okay.
And I have my counseling with our brigade commander tomorrow on Monday. And
Okay.
I know he's gonna ask me. He's like, "You have so much time." Yeah, I know that's the point. That's the point.
It has to be some kind. Like for me, in the end, when when you get out, like how? So you sign this paper. Does he have to sign and approve it, or how does that
He
work?
he does. He does. So from other people, because I want to say I'm maybe the fifth or sixth person who has dropped the packet to get out. And the one question that they said that he's really looking for is basically what are our plans when we get out.
Yep.
And I'm like, I definitely have a plan.
Yep.
It's just because I'm dual military, so it's hard. And
Yes.
me and Lonnie have been married for, we're coming up on, is it 15? That's bad, isn't it? Yeah, we're coming up on 15 years.
Okay.
And of the 15 years that we've been married, I would say due to the military, we've probably been separated for 12 years of that. We've never had a constant, just like
Yeah.
everybody lived together in the same house.
Yeah.
So that's hard. And with him switching over, he just switched over to AGR
Okay.
and the assignments in California.
Okay.
And after I contact my branch, I'm like, is there a way that I can get over there? And they're just like, no.
No.
And like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't. So I just dropped my packet. And then like my kids are growing up, and this past year it's just been hectic because I work in a post that's an hour and 15 minutes away. So every morning I have
Yes.
to get up at
Yes.
4 o'clock in the morning
Yes.
to drive to
Yes.
get to PT by 06. And then by the time I get home and driving through all that traffic, it's like 2.5 hours just to get home because of the
Yes.
traffic. I have like 30 minutes with my kids and then they're off to bed. And then I don't see them in the morning. So it's just like, I can't. I've missed so much. I've missed freaking parties and birthdays and holidays because I had duty, and just like football games, basketball games. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm
can't
just
be a
like, I
supporter.
do
You
this.
can't be a supporter talking about, okay, hey, put me on FaceTime. Let's do this so I can see. It's like it's not the same, and it's not. People just. I mean, it's a real life struggle to.
Yeah,
But the,
it is. It's just it's I'm like, and I'm just like, I'm tired. Like, I can't do this anymore.
so can you tell the people what you have decided to? What's your real life like? Your passion and plan. You don't have to indulge everything, but tell us about your ideas because of your you're a mom of boys, and
Oh yes,
you
4.
know like you got four of them,
Yeah,
and you know your life is them, right? Because I
yeah,
mean they turn around and say that your children aren't your life, but the children didn't ask to be here, and it's like
yeah,
we make sacrifices for them to have better things, but in reality, when do we able to become a parent? Because the
exactly.
military, it's like they say they're family oriented, but in reality,
I mean, it's mission first.
yes,
Your
yes,
family is always
yes.
second.
And when it comes to like a situation like you have, like Lonnie's going to California and they ain't got no spot for you. What?
It's not that they don't. They're just not willing to move me.
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
So I'm
that,
just like,
that's a whole different perspective. Like you just don't want to put me there. And
exactly. You just don't want to. It's not that you can't. You just don't want to.
where's my support? Like, but then the funny thing is, it's always like with you being one thing and him being another. When it's time for him to pack up and leave, they'll be like, "Listen, boo, we can't pack you up and leave." We
Exactly. And with his branch, because he's cyber, like they're willing to move them at the drop of a dime because cyber is hot right now.
Yes.
So they'll move them. Oh, you only been there for 6 months? It's fine. We'll move you anyway. But like the
That,
AG side of the house, they're like,
and that sucks. Like it should be all across the board. Like even when me and Reginald, when I got to Spain, so when we got married, we had our back and forth about us being married at a certain time because for me, the military, if you're not married by the time you get your assignment,
yeah,
ain't no curtailing. And that I guess that's the same thing, right? Because the Air Force is like,
yeah. And they're like, how long you been married? When'd you get?
how long you did this? Like that you boo, and that's the funny thing is the girl when I was stationed in Spain and I applied for my curtailment, the girl didn't know it, but they were going back and forth, and my senior, he was like, hey, he was trying to hook me up, he was messaging. The girl responded, she was like, it's not my fault she decided to get married.
Oh,
Listen, you know how Jesus needed to come in and protect me and my mouth from
I was
responding to
I was
email.
just gonna say, how did that go over with you?
The funny thing is,
God.
he forwarded me the whole email. So I'm
Wow.
scrolling down like, did she really say that? Like, is that really a thing?
Yeah. It's crazy because it's like they just I don't know what it is with assignment managers. They like have this cockiness about them. It's just like,
Listen, in my head, I didn't know how it truly went down until that went down. So how it goes down for us is you submit your package and it goes to the NCOs, right?
yeah,
So we have our functionals are always E9s, and they always have, I want to say, E6s and E7s working for them, depending on the location.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
when I seen that it was an E6 responding about how that ain't my fault, she decided to get married. I was like,
oh, I can see the bomb going off in your head.
Jesus, don't fix it, Jesus, fix it, because I didn't respond to her. I said, you know what? She don't deserve a response because in the end, this here, how you responded to that email will karma.
Yeah,
It's gonna come right back around because you had the power to help me.
yeah,
So my senior went straight to the E9 and was like, come on, like this. And the funny thing is, I was gonna cross over. I was gonna cross over. I was gonna apply because I had got to Spain, and I think I had to be in Spain for a year. And I was gonna cross over, and we were gonna do it. But then after that, I was like, we ain't gonna never be together if I do this, like, because in the officer world, you got to be at a base for us, it's a year, I think a year or two at the
yeah,
max, and then you're gone again. And then that played another part in Reginald going for doing his different stuff, because it's like, how are we gonna ever be together? Like, we've been apart for this long, and
yeah,
then we decided to get married, and then we had Brianna, and then it was like, so because of the when we got married, my curtailment to go to Germany was to be with him, and that's where we met.
yeah, yeah.
He had been there for,
He had been there for a while.
yeah, and
Cause
he,
I remember when I met, he was at 1-2. Him and Lonnie were at 1-2 together. That's where I met him.
the funny thing is, Lonnie was on the deployment that I was on.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't like your husband
So
then, and
time. Lonnie's like, I just don't understand how you and her get so. I introduced y'all. How did y'all get so close?
I was like, because he was a mess, a hotmess.com. Like,
He's still a hot mess.
I'm like, how is this man an officer? What is going on right now? Like, you have these thought processes in your head. Like,
Exactly.
in the world, you think, and Lonnie, I'm not taking away from how he does his work, how he does whatever he does, but when I seen him, I was like, he's a what? He's a what? Like, he walk around like he's one of the enlisted. He really do.
He does.
I thought he was enlisted at first, and then when I was like, he's an officer? Like,
And people ask me all the time, they're like, is he prior enlisted? I'm like, no. He
oh,
was a scholarship ROTC. That's where we met.
he's privileged,
Not
guys. He's privileged. He didn't have to deal with the crap that we dealt with. He just rolled on in, right? And he
yeah,
he just roll, and I guess that's why, like, he just rolls through his days. Like,
yeah, that's exactly how it is.
that dude is a what? Like, he's a hot mess, but it's okay. Hey, do it big. If that's how you are, hey, own that mess, and then you just be.
Exactly.
But we got off the topic. Let's talk about what your plans are.
Oh, as we've had this conversation.
Yeah. Okay. I know, right? Let's just talk about your idea for the boys. Yeah. Right. The plan that you have for the activities, or your functions that you want to put on.
So you talking about as far as like this getting like the back and forth?
The tree house.
The treehouse, yes. So treehouse, I don't. it's something that's been on my mind, and it's just like going out and going to stores, and you don't see a lot of things for boys, and
Mhm.
I'm like, you see all this stuff for girls, and they got, the section for girls is a lot bigger than the
Amazing.
section
It's
for boys.
amazing.
It is.
Yes.
Like you go out and you're looking for stuff, like even just like just maybe toys. Like girls have like 2 or 3 rows of toys, and the boys have like the Lego section and then the
Yes.
cars. And
Yes. Yes.
it's like
Yes.
on. So I'm trying to start this brand, the Treehouse brand, because I don't know why. Like Treehouse is just in my mind. Like for years, I'm like, maybe this is like telling me something. I need to do something with this. With
Definitely is.
so I am starting, and I filed for my LLC,
Yay.
Treehouse brand. Um, I'm starting off with the Treehouse parties,
Okay.
and then I'm going to a magazine, the Treehouse magazine,
Okay.
and I'm trying to branch out into clothing. Also, I want to do like a Treehouse store. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna like name it, but it's gonna have to do something with Treehouse. Treehouse is gonna be a huge brand. It's gonna be
Yes.
a boy brand,
Yes.
and I want to do like a store that has like different type of styles for boys. Like you got your preppy boys, you got your jock boys, you got your
Yes.
um metrosexual boys, you got your goth boys. Like
Yes.
everything's gonna be tailored for boys, but
Yep.
it's gonna be the different styles that boys wear. You got your boy, you got your boys that like to wear suits, and he wants to be, dressed down. Like
Yep.
that's gonna be in there too. Like I just never see it. So that's where I'm trying to
Yes.
take the Treehouse brand.
And I know it's gonna go. It's gonna be amazing.
Man,
It's
yeah.
gonna be amazing.
Now Treehouse parties is gonna be tailored for boys and girls.
Okay.
It's gonna be geared more for boys,
Yep.
but I'm gonna do parties for girls too, but
Our
it's
little girls can be
geared
tomboys too, right? Because at this point,
exactly,
this little dirty thing that you got going on, girl,
exactly,
I'm gonna support you, but
exactly. If
I
she
can't support
want
dirty.
to have a camo party, we can we give her a camo party.
Oh my goodness! Like I don't know. Like for me, when I had Brianna, oh my god, everything was like, oh my god, look at these little cute little things. Then when I had RJ, I was like, I don't see nothing. I don't see a thing. Like these little outfits is cute, but this is it. This is like this is it.
Yeah,
Do y'all got something in the back? Look, is there another part of the store that I can go to look for the rest of this? Because this this can't be it, right? This can't be it. Girls got, but you know what? When it comes to the girl toys, like they got Barbies, they got regular dolls, they got Shopkins, and they got all these different things. And I'm like, you go in the store and you're overwhelmed when it comes to the girls, and then when you go to the boys, you're like, oh, go ahead and get you a monster truck. And
exactly. Get
go,
them
go,
on
get, go
top
get you G.I. Joe.
or go get some Legos. It's like there's nothing else. Like
That's it. No,
exactly.
nothing. But yeah. So is there anything that you would want to tell somebody that wants to join the military? Well, the army, because that's a whole different ball
Yeah,
game.
the
Um,
whole different one.
how do you think coming in as a listener and crossing over, having a plan to do that, or do you think coming in as an officer is the best way to approach things?
I would say for people, for me, I think it's if you are enlisted and then you cross over to officer, I think that's the for me it's the best route to go because you see what goes on the enlisted side, and then take that over to the officer side, and you can help make change. Whereas I've seen people who come in as straight officers, and they almost treat enlisted like they're the scum of the earth.
Yes.
So like that really irritates me, and it's like you can't get anywhere without your enlisted counterpart. Like I learned each job that I go to, I learned so much from my junior enlisted than my officer counterparts.
Yep.
'Cause it's like they've been here most of the time they've been doing this job longer than you. So
Yes.
no, and it's like don't treat them like they're nothing. And I see it all the time, and it's mostly from people who are not prior service, who come in their scholarship. Not to bash on the West Pointers, but most of the time, most of the time, it's them. So I think coming in enlisted and then switching over, it's better because you see like what the enlisted do and what they go through, and you can help them on the other side.
I know it's not a perfect world for everybody come enlisted and cross over,
And, but it's like even if you come over as an officer, it's just like be willing to listen.
mentality, yes. Like you don't know everything. You just
You
starting out. Like just
exactly.
because you think your college degree is, and I'm not knocking, like I got my degrees, I got everything, and that doesn't make me any better than anybody else. That doesn't give me
Yeah,
any more information. Somebody else could not have even gone to college and know a
exactly.
whole lot more than I do. And I'm not using my education as, oh yeah, I got my degree. So you
It's
can't
like
tell me nothing.
got some enlisted soldiers who got their degrees. Like they got masters and doctorates. But you're not trying to ask them. You're not trying to get to
Yes.
know. And if you have soldiers who don't have their degrees, like me and my previous NCIC, love her to death. She's like one of my closest friends now. But that was one thing we did. Like our junior enlisted soldiers is like, you're not just gonna sit here and work. What is
Yes.
are you going to school? Oh, you don't
Yes.
have classes? Well, let's get signed up for some classes because you're going to school. You're gonna get something, you're gonna have some credits
Yes.
before IPCS or
Yes.
associate something. You're gonna have something, but you're not just gonna sit here, work, and then go back to your barracks room. No.
Yes. That's the biggest thing. Education, education, education. Like it's free for us. So at this point, you got to take your time and change your mentality and be like, you know what? You may not need that schooling. You may not want to do schooling, but get it only because it's a benefit.
Exactly.
You don't want it later on in the year to regret it.
They have this Army Ignited thing that me and my husband are pushing because a lot of soldiers don't know about it.
What is that?
Like Army Ignited, you get $4,000 a year to go and get like certifications that the Army is giving,
Wow.
and soldiers don't know about it. And it's like it's free. Just go. You can look up almost any certification that you want. You can do social work, you can do culinary arts, anything.
Wow.
And it's $4,000 of free money. It's not tied to tuition assistance. It's separate from that. And you can just go and get these certifications, and you can do it online. You can go to colleges, and
Yeah.
a lot of soldiers don't know about it. So like I literally have a little poster in my office. So soldiers like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, you don't know what that is? Come here, let me show you what it is.
Let me tell you what this is.
Exactly. It's free money. It's $4,000 a year, and you can go get certified in whatever you want. Project management, like especially with HR certifications, they got all the HR certifications on there.
Oh,
Just go,
nice.
just go and sign up for it.
Nice. That's really good.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to share? Before your crew try to break the door
You
down?
hear them trying to break the door down. Jeez, that's
You can't be away for too long.
not too long. Nothing I can. I think I've shared everything.
Well, I appreciate you
I'm
sharing.
excited.
And that is a great, I hope somebody gets some value out of using that Army Ignite program and
Yes,
money.
please pass the word.
Look,
I-
I'm gonna talk to anybody. Oh, you're in the Army. Did you know about the Army Ignite? Check that out. You should
I'm
use that.
telling you, look
Yeah.
it up.
On top of your TA, get this. Do this. Like find some time. Make some nooks and crannies in your day and get this. Just do it.
Exactly, and just look it up.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And
Thank you.
amazing things. I can't wait to see the treehouse because I mean I'm gonna take part in it, but only to an extent of the not too dirty
You want no camo party for Brianna?
or no digging in the dirt parties. I mean, RJ is down 100%, and I'm gonna send his daddy with him to do it. But other than that, I'm gonna holler at y'all on the flip side when it comes to the camo and the dirt digging in the dirt parties, or I mean that's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. I know RJ would love that because we did diggers last year. We're doing monster trucks this year.
Oh,
So,
nice.
it's about the dirt. It's all about the dirt. But yeah, I'll let you go so you can tend to the
Oh,
amazingness that's
goodness.
going on.
You're about to break this door down. Jesus.
We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.